see what actually happens. Okay. Okay, so let's look at a matrix A, which is an element of m cross n. That means A is a real matrix of dimension m cross n. M need not be equal to n. If they are equal, then we say it is a square matrix. But now I'm going to put this condition saying, I'm going to give this condition need not be equal to n. So what is that we have? We have A m cross n, x n cross 1 gives me B m cross 1. Right? That means there are a few things that I note here. What is it that I note? I note that x n cross 1 implies x is an element of the vector space Rn. B m cross 1 implies B is an element of this vector space Rn. Is this fine? Is this fine? Shall we go ahead? I mean, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. So now what we do is we are going to look at this. So we said that null space of A is basically solution to Ax equal to 0. Solution X to Ax equal to 0. Now if you see here, X basically comes from Rn, and this set is basically, I'll say, a set of solutions. So this basically is a subset of some vector space, we said. Therefore, we will see that null space is a subspace. Null space of A is a subspace of Rn. Is this okay? Because X is always n component vector. So we are going to look at this implies X is in Rn. Therefore, null space of A is a subspace of Rn. Therefore, this is a subspace of Rn. Similarly, if I take null space of A transpose, if we take null space of A transpose, what would that be? This means I am going to look at A transpose Y is equal to 0. This 0 basically is m cross 1. This is basically m cross 1. And therefore, now what we have is A transpose. How do we do? What is the dimension of A transpose? A transpose is basically n cross m. Y is m cross 1. And this 0 is basically n cross 1. Therefore, null space of A transpose is a subspace of Rm. Is this okay? It's a subspace of Rm. Similarly, we made this statement. What is that? We had, similarly, we had, what was that? A range of A. Range of A, how did we say? A range of A is nothing but the set of B, which can be expressed as Ax. But B in this case is element of Rm. Therefore, we have B m cross 1 is equal to A m cross n x n cross 1. Therefore, I'm going to say a range of A is a subspace of Rm. Now I'm going to make the same statement again. Similarly, range of A transpose is a subspace of Rn. Is this clear? Subspace of Rn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to represent this graphically, which basically forms the cover page of Gilbert-Stunk's textbook. The latest edition Gilbert-Stunk's textbook cover page is this. You will see that I have this. I have Rn. I have Rm. Now what it says, X is basically here. X is an element in Rn. B is an element in Rm. This is null space of A, which means any vector here will go under the transformation A and then go sit here. So this is Ax is equal to 0 m cross 1. Similarly, this is null space of A transpose. So what are we going to see? You're going to see any vector here is going to come and sit here. I'll probably use a different text, a different color. Probably use, yeah, we'll use this color. So it says you take any vector from here and it will go and map to 0 vector here. This is A transpose Y is equal to 0 n cross 1. Then any X, what happens to any X? Any X in Rn gets transformed to a B here. This is called range of B, range of A, or column space of A. Similarly, any B or Y here gets transformed to element here. This is range of A transpose. This is A transpose Y. Is this okay? Is this all clear? So what we see is, we see that there are, so let's write that there are two subspaces each on Rn of Rn and Rm. This is all we need to understand. And these are the only 4 fundamental subspaces. 4 fundamental subspaces associated with the matrix. Associated with the matrix here. M cross N. Is this okay? Is everybody getting this? Is everybody getting this? Is there any any confusion in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Is there everybody any doubt you have in this? There are no doubts, right? Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now I'm going to look at a very important and very interesting concept. What is that? I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at what are called as eigenvectors, eigenvalues, and eigenvectors. Now, let us take this example. Let's go back to our first example that we took, 2, 1, 1, 2, and take x1, x2. This was giving, say, some b1, b2. Okay, now let us take different values of x1, x2 and see what happens. Okay, so let's take x1, x2, the vector x1, x2 here, and then let us see what we get as b1, b2. Okay, we'll take in 2, 1, 1, 2 into x1, x2. So the first column is basically this. The second column is this. Okay, now what I do is I take this vector 1, 0. Can you tell me what would I get if I do this? What is it that I would get? Hello?
We'll be getting 2, 1. 2, 1.
I'll be getting exactly. Now I give 0, 1.
1, 2.
1,
2 you will get.
1, 1.
3 and 3, 3 and 3.
What do I get?
5
5,
and
5.
5.
5, 5, no.
5 and 4, sir. 4.
Yeah, 5 and 4.
5 and 4.
Exactly. You get 5 and 4. Let's take one more and then we'll start discussing this.
One
1
minus
and 1 and minus 1.
Yeah. Can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. No, there is something there's something interesting happening with all the vectors that I have given. See, this is the input vectors that I gave, and these are the output vectors that I get. But I'm seeing something peculiar happening here. What is that peculiar thing happening? When I gave 1, 0, I got 2, 1, right? This simply means, okay, the first component has got multiplied by this 2, so I got a 2, I can tell. But the second component of this vector was nothing, but then I ended up getting a 1. Which means you cannot say scalar multiple of 0 giving me 1. It doesn't make sense at all, right? Similarly, when I take 0, 1, what is happening? The second component, which was 1, gets stretched by 2, and this fellow was 0, and somewhere I get a 1. In this case, there is something that is happening. This is 3 times 1, 1. Here, if I take, oh, this seems to be completely unequal. I gave 2. This is basically 2.5 times 2, which I got 5. But this is 1, this is 4 times, which means this is something that's happening, which I don't even know what's happening. On the other hand, you look at this, I can say it is 1 time minus 1. 1 minus 1. Yeah? Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, how do we, for these two vectors,
Sir,
for these,
here 2, 1, that is what we choose that vector is again came that vector that multiply that 3.
Exactly, right, exactly. See, especially if you look at this 1, 1 and 1 minus 1, it is like this. You put this one, this says, okay, you give 1 minus 1, this says 1 into 1 minus 1. But if you give 1, 0, this says you get 2, 0. 2, 1. This says you give 0, 1. So I'll give you 1, 2. Basically, the dabba is the same, right? The dabba is the same, but only thing is, there is something that is happening with this and this, which is not happening here. What is it that's happening? Can someone tell what is happening?
Last 2 is a part of unit matrix.
Yes.
Last
First 2.
Yeah, 1 at 10, please. Yeah.
First 2 is repeated same vector here. That
Exactly. The first two vectors seem to be, this is a vector, this is a scalar, this is a vector, this is a scalar, which means these two vectors seem to be scaled by that matrix. Is that right? Okay. Are you getting this? Whereas in this case, I don't even know what is happening. Yesterday, I'm quite sure some of you would have watched Rishabh Pant's innings. This is like our fellow Pat Cummins bowling, and Rishabh Pant he bowls this vector, he bowls this direction, say outside the off stump. Rishabh Pant is sending it that way to boundary. He bowls the ball on the leg stump. This fellow is sending it beyond the boundary. Whereas he bowls a straight delivery. What is Rishabh Pant doing? Rishabh Pant is trying to hit it back in the same direction that the ball came. Right? Are you seeing this? This is the direction in which the ball came, in the direction of 1, 1. The direction in which the ball went is also it is the same as 1, 1. Right? Similarly, he tried to bowl another straight ball. It went in the same direction as the ball came. Right? So what we are going to do is, that means this vector 1, 1 and 1 minus 1 for this matrix did not undergo any direction change. Whereas any other vector that you put, they have undergone some direction change. Yeah? Is this clear? Shall we take a
Yes.
diagram?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's write this. So let's basically draw this and then see if we can uh, get what it is. Okay. So I have 0. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 1, minus 2. So let me draw this now. So the input vector was 1, 0. 1, 0 was this. What was the output vector? The corresponding output vector was 2, 1. Yeah, this is the direction. Input was this, output goes in this direction. Similarly, the input was 1, 2. The input was 0, 1. This was the input. Where did the output go? The output was 1, 2. It went in this direction. Is that right? This vector, what was 1, 0, has gone a rotation here. Is that right? Not just rotation, some scaling has happened. This vector, which was 0, 1, what has happened? It has also got rotated, but it has got scaled, right? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now let us look at what is happening to 1, 1. Is basically this vector. Now, what has happened to 1, 1? 1, 1
Same,
has become
same direction with scale.
3, 3. Yeah. 1, 1 became 3, 3. You see, this was 1, 1, and this is 3, 3, right? What about 1 minus 1? That is even more interesting. 1 minus 1 is more interesting because it is what this is what it's doing. 1 minus 1. Oh, sorry. Minus 1 is here. Minus 2, minus 3. 1 minus 1 is this vector. And what is the resultant? The resultant is also the same vector. Yeah, for this matrix. So what is happening? This vector, if you put it into 2, 1, 1, 2, you end up getting this vector. This vector, if you put it into 2, 1, 1, 2, you end up getting this vector. This vector, if you put 2, 1, 1, 2 into 2, 1, 1, 2, you will end up getting this vector. And this vector, if you put 2, 1, 1, 2, you will end up going back to the same vector. Yeah? Is everybody getting this?
Yes, sir.
Now, these are called as invariant vectors. These vectors are called invariant vectors. Which are the invariant vectors? The vector 1, 1 and the vector 1 minus 1. These are invariant vectors. There is a name for this. This is basically your eigenvectors. So, if an cross n is such that for some x n cross 1, n cross 1, n cross n times x n cross 1 is, it gives me lambda times x n cross 1, where lambda is a scalar. Then we say x n cross 1 is the eigenvector of A eigenvector, eigenvector of A associated with the eigenvalue lambda. Is this okay? And the xn cross 1 for which, okay, I will also, I'll not write this, but I'll write it in a different way. I'll say that the eigenvector is also called as invariant vector. Called the invariant direction. Is this okay? Is this fine? Is everybody getting this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now the question is, why would we want to study this? Why study eigenvectors and eigenvalues? Why do we study this? Can someone tell me? Let us do a simple stuff. Okay, let us do a simple stuff and see what happens. See, many of you, when you were kids, you would have gone out with your mother for some shopping, or probably now you would have gone with your kids to some mall for some shopping. Most of you do it. Do people go for shopping with kids or as kids? Hello.
Yes, sir.
You all go. Now, okay, assume that you are taking your kid for shopping. Okay. In a mall. The kid has seen some wonderful toy there in the mall. And the kid says, "Look, I want you to get that toy for me." What is the first reaction of the mother? Don't ask about father. What is the first reaction of mother?
Of course.
Huh? Mother says, "You get it." Suppose you take your kid and the kid says, "Look, I want this toy, which is 5,000 rupees."
Rejects.
No, not agreed. Opposed.
First time anywhere. I mean, I'm not stereotyping mothers, but all that I'm trying to tell you is mother is always some strict person. No? Father, at least you can cheat and get things. Mother, first of all, the first reaction of mother is no. 5,000 rupees, why you want to get? No, I won't get it for you. What does the kid do then? It will ask.
Requested to father.
It won't request to father. It knows fathers are all dummy. They cannot pay anything and then get. Most powerful person in the house is mother. So what will it do? It will ask mother again. "Ma, please, you give me this. Get me this." Mother will still say no. 5,000 rupees. Why would I pay 5,000 rupees for this hopeless doll? Then the kid will start showing its colors. What will it do? It will start crying. If it starts crying, what will the mother do? She will shout. She'll say, "Why are you crying? Just shut up and come. I'm not getting that toy for you." What will the kid do? The kid will shout again. Now everybody, if your attention, it would have grabbed. Right? The mother is not getting the kid. Then the mom will again say, "Look, everybody is looking at you. Just shut up and come. I'm not getting you." Finally, the kid again will cry. It will cry more now because everybody is seeing. It will understand that, okay, fine. If I cry more, everybody sees there is a possibility that I will get this toy. But finally, what does the mother do? Mother gives one slap and then says, "Just shut up and come," and drags and goes. Now, what will the kid happen? What will happen to the kid? The kid will be shouting because it will have two pains. One pain is because of the fact that he has not got the toy that he wanted. Second pain is because the mother has hit. Physical pain is there, mental pain is also there, right? But when every time the mother tells the kid that "I am not going to get you the toy," the kid grows more and more violent, right? Suppose assume that X is the kid and A is the mother. First time, when the kid asks the mother should have got it. Mother says, "No, I won't get it." Then what does the kid do? The kid starts showing its color. Second time, what will happen? The mother acts on already transformed kid. The kid is already a second time pleading. The mother will say, "Look, I am not going to give you this." The kid starts behaving a bit abnormally. Third time, what will happen? Third time, the mother will, when the kid starts behaving violently, started shouting, the mother will say, "You shut up and come." The kid will say, "Look, I will behave like this only." What will happen? Every time it does, every time the mother refuses, the kid behaves very badly. Therefore, if you take, for this vector, if you apply this mother transformation n times, you end up getting, the kid is not going to change, but the kid's behavior is going to increase this way. If you apply n times, the kid is going to become violent n times, right? So there is something interesting happening here. What is interesting happening here? For the mother transformation A, X is the kid is basically the eigenvector, and the intensity with which he cries, which keeps increasing every time, is basically your eigenvalue. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, let us see this. Now, what is it? Therefore, what is happening? It says if you want to compute a power n for a matrix, nth power of a matrix, you don't worry. Try to look for the eigenvector of the matrix, and then you get a power nx is equal to lambda power nx. That's all. Instead of taking, say, for example, I have a 512 cross 512, and I want to find out a power 1076. I don't even know, some random number. 512 cross 512 numbers, I have to keep multiplying, adding all those things, and I have to look at 1076, which is something really messy. It's not going to work. So what do? Instead of that, you try to transform the eigenvector. What you get is lambda power 1076 into x. What is lambda? Lambda is just a scalar. Is this clear? Now, what we're going to do is more interesting. Say, for example, let us consider this A, which is equal to 2112. Now, what I do is, what are the eigenvalues for this? Eigenvalues are 3, and the corresponding eigenvectors are 1, 1. The eigenvalue was 1, the corresponding eigenvector was 1 minus 1. Now, what I do is, I construct a matrix P, which is equal to 1, 1, 1 minus 1. I construct a matrix like this. Therefore, what is it that I get? I get, what is A into P? This is 2, 1, 1, 2 into 1, 1, 1 minus 1. This I already know. What is 2, 1, 1, 2 into 1, 1? That was basically 3, 3. And what is 2, 1, 1, 2 into 1 minus 1? Oh, that also I know, which is 1, 1, 1 minus 1. Now, from the column picture of the matrix, I know that it is always the first column which gets multiplied by the x1, and the second column gets multiplied by x2. So this is equivalent to saying, look, I have my 1, 1, 1 minus 1, the matrix P itself. And how is this going to be? The other matrix is going to be 3, 0, 0, 1. So what do we see? We see that A times P is equal to P times D. So we get AP is equal to PD, which implies A is equal to PD P inverse. This is called eigen decomposition of A. And what it says is, you can also do P inverse AP to get a diagonal matrix D, where D is a diagonal matrix that contains eigenvalues as its diagonal elements. Is this clear? Now I want to look at A power n. What is A power n? Let me start with A square, A cube, and so on. Let me start with A square. What is A square? A square is A into A, but A is already PDP inverse, and this A is all PDP inverse. Now what is it that we get? This P inverse P is I. So what do I get? I get P D squared P inverse. A squared is P D squared P inverse. Now this helps me to find out, saying, look, A power n is P D power n P inverse. Which means if you want to compute the nth power of a matrix, it is enough if you compute the nth power of a diagonal matrix. Is this clear? And especially in the realms of machine learning, these eigenvectors and eigenvalues play a very, very vital role. Now, what is that role? Because eigenvectors are basically the invariant directions. That means directions which do not undergo any changes. I start looking for features which do not undergo any change over time. That is why in Aadhaar, they basically take your fingerprint, they take your iris and all. These are eigen features. So they typically take that. Okay. So eigenvectors and eigenvalues are extremely important as far as your machine learning is concerned. Is this okay? Now, the question that I have is the following. Is every A n cross n, expressible as PDP inverse. Okay, this is the question. If this is done, then life is very easy. Let's take some examples and see. Example. Yeah? You have any questions? Are there any questions here?
No, sir. No, sir. No questions.
Shall we go ahead?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So now the question is this. Let's take this example. 1, 0, 0, 1. The eigenvectors. Now, how do we find? That is a problem. So to find the eigenvalues, we do determinant of A minus lambda I is equal to 0. This is basically what we call as the characteristic polynomial. This is basically called the characteristic polynomial. Is this okay? When you solve the characteristic polynomial, you get the values of lambda. Now, this tells me something. And then what should I do? I know that I can do A minus lambda I times x is equal to 0, solve the system of equations, get the value of x. Get the values of x. X is basically a vector. Means you have x1, x2, etc. Is this okay? Is everybody clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, I have a question. Let us write this question. What does determinant of A minus lambda I equal to 0 imply as far as the system of equations A minus lambda I times x is equal to 0? Yeah? Is the question clear? We've said determinant of A minus lambda x is equal to 0. Now, what does that imply as far as here? A minus lambda I times x is equal to 0. Yeah, somebody was about to answer. Yeah?
A minus lambda A into x is equal to 0 will get it eigenvector.
I will get the eigenvector. Of course, that's what we said. Get the values of x, which means eigenvector. But there is very serious implication. See, when will a determinant when a determinant is 0, what can we say about the invertibility of a matrix?
So is a singular, sir. Actually, the inverse is not exist.
Inverse does not exist. The matrix is singular matrix. The moment the matrix is singular, what can we say about system of equations? What is the solution to the system of equations? What can we say about that? Is the question clear? Suppose I have a system of equations which is where in which the matrix associated square matrix is singular. My question is, what can you say about the solutions to the system of equations?
So it's trivial.
Is trivial? No. You either have infinitely many solutions or you have no solutions, right?
Yes.
But Ax is equal to 0 will definitely have one solution. X is equal to 0 is always a solution.
Yes.
Therefore, what is it that we can say? This system will have infinitely many solutions. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
The moment we say it has infinitely many solutions, what is it that we can tell? Something, can we make some more comments? That means, is the screen visible?
Yeah.
This simply implies we are looking for non-trivial solution to, or we'll say non-zero solutions. We'll say non-trivial solution to a minus x is equal to a minus lambda times x is equal to 0. This simply means I cannot have x is equal to 0 to be an eigenvector. Is this clear? This implies the 0 vector can never be the eigenvector. Is that clear? The 0 vector can never be an eigenvector. Is this okay? Is everybody fine with this?
Yes.
Why can't zero vector be an eigenvector? Because whatever you do, a into 0 will only give me 0 vector. So I can put it.
Eigenvector is also, eigenvalue is also 0.
The eigenvector, no, eigenvalue can be 0. You can have 0 eigenvalue, but you cannot have 0 vector as eigenvector.
Yeah.
Okay. You cannot have, so we are only looking for non-zero eigenvectors. That non-zero vectors as eigenvectors. That is exactly why I raised this question. What does this imply as far as this system of equation is concerned? This means we are looking for a non-zero solution to ax is equal to 0. Is this clear? Therefore, the 0 vector can never be an eigenvector. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Is everybody getting this? Now. Okay. This is all fine. I have found out all these things. Now, I have a question. What is the question? So we know what is this eigenvector, how to find the eigenvector, all these things. Now I have a question. Let us consider this matrix A, which is 2, 1, 1, 2. What is it that we can tell about this matrix? What is A transpose for this matrix? A transpose is the same as A. So we call such matrices as symmetric matrices. Is that right? We call these matrices as symmetric matrices. For whichever A transpose is equal to A, we tell that the matrix A is symmetric. Yeah? And what is the nature of elements inside this? These are basically real symmetric matrices. Now, what are the eigenvectors for this matrix that we took? Eigenvectors were 1, 1, 1 minus 1. Now, what is the dot product of this 1, 1 and 1 minus 1? Basically, take 1, 1 into 1 minus 1, which is 1 minus 1, which is 0. If the dot product of 1, 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0, what can we say about those two vectors, 1, 1, 1 minus 1?
Perpendicular to each other.
Perpendicular.
Exactly. So these two are orthogonal to each other. Okay, these two are orthogonal to each other. Therefore, now what we must understand is, whenever we have real symmetric matrices, this is the finding that we have. Real symmetric matrices with distinct eigenvalues. With distinct eigenvalues. Will have the corresponding eigenvectors to be orthogonal. Is this okay? This is a very important feature which comes actually, this important property, we will use it in terms of when we do our PCA, we will use this important property. What does it say? It says the eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues of real symmetric matrix are always orthogonal to each other. The reason for this orthogonal, why is this orthogonality a celebrated one? Because whenever I have orthogonal vectors, they will naturally be linearly independent, and therefore orthogonal vectors can be used as orthogonal bases. Is this clear? We will see that the covariance matrix, which we'll talk about in probably in 2 classes from now, is always a real symmetric matrix. Now all we need to do is we need to find out the eigenvectors. Okay. Now I have a, and let's have a question, another question now. Oh, we started off with something. We started off saying we ended up doing something else. Is every A expressible as PDP inverse? The answer is no. Not all square matrices are expressible like this. Now, if square matrices only have this problem, the question is, what do we do with rectangular matrix? What do we do with A m cross n? N cross only is giving us sleepless nights, saying not all matrices will have this kind of eigen decomposition or whatever. What do we do with rectangular matrices?
So probably for rectangular matrices, you're not finding the determinant. So maybe you're not able to solve this.
Exactly.
I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, what he says is right. Determinant for a rectangular matrix, determinant is not even defined, right? That's what you're telling me, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm telling exactly.
Yeah. What he says is right. Determinant is not defined, and therefore, it simply says that look, we cannot do this business of eigen decomposition. Is that right? Correct, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because ultimately what we want is the determinant. So can we say, look, rectangular matrices, nothing can be done, let's forget. We are again landing in the same situation as we had yesterday morning. We said a system of equation is not solvable, Ax equal to 0. Suppose you have parallel lines, they don't intersect. Can we say that, look, they don't intersect, let's wind up the course, right? Remember, we had this yesterday. 2x plus y is equal to 3, 2x plus y is equal to 4. We did this. And people said that, look, these are parallel lines, no solutions. If there is no solutions, life would have been easier. All machine learning, everything would have gone for a task. We'll be happily saying, no solutions, we don't do anything. Leave it like that, right? But then we said, in that case, if there is no solution, go and get an approximate solution. If you cannot go to US for doing your master's, at least go to Singapore to do your master's. If you're not going to, publish in IEEE transactions, at least try to publish in Elsevier. It is still a very worthy publication, right? So that's what. If you're not able to get an answer, at least get an approximate answer. If you're not able to solve a problem, we don't say, okay, the problem is not solvable, therefore I'll go through it. Are you getting it? Traffic problem in Bangalore is not solvable. What do people do? But people still go out to office. They find some inner lanes and then go. No, I have to find out something like that. If A is not diagonalizable, leave alone square matrices. Now I have a rectangular matrix. What do we do with this? No answer. Can somehow
By using partition matrix.
We can't do that. No, we should take the matrix, whole of the matrix. No. How do we do it? This is a good question that we have. So, if we have A m cross n, if we have real A m cross n, can we have any decomposition for it at all? Can we have a decomposition similar to A n cross n is equal to P d P inverse. Again, if you have A n cross n, I had P d P inverse. So the question is basically this. Now, what is it that's happening here? Can somebody tell me? In this case, there is one matrix P which ends up giving me a diagonalization. Say, for example, I can write D is equal to P inverse AP, right? P inverse AP is basically the diagonalized form of this A. There is one matrix P which does this diagonalization, right? And we should also note that for this example, for real symmetric matrices, we said, can you please mute yourself? Yeah. Yeah. So for a real symmetric matrix, we said eigenvectors corresponding to distinct eigenvalues. Eigenvectors of distinct eigenvalues are orthogonal. Eigenvalues are orthogonal. What is the advantage of getting an orthogonal matrix? Suppose I have P is equal to 1, 1, 1 minus 1. Can you tell me what is P inverse? What is P inverse?
Not exist.
Remember, it exists. For orthogonal square matrix, for any orthogonal matrix, square matrix, the inverse is equal to its transpose. Let us check if it works. What is the transpose of this matrix? This matrix is also symmetric, so I'll take 1, 1, 1 minus 1, 1, 1, 1 minus 1. So what do I get? I get 1 plus 1, 2. I get 1 minus 1, 0. I get 1 minus 1, 0. I get 1 plus 1, 2, which is 2, 0, 0, 2, which is nothing but 2 times 1, 0, 0, 1. But what is this 2? What is the, what do you call, determinant of this matrix? The determinant of this matrix is minus 2. 1 into minus 1 is minus 1, minus 1, minus 1 is minus 2, right? So suppose if I divide this by the 2, what is it I would get? I would basically get my value 1. Is that clear? I would get this identity matrix. So what we say is, if we have orthogonal matrices, we'll write this. If A is an orthogonal matrix, A n cross n is an orthogonal matrix, that means there is a definition. That is, the columns of A are orthogonal to each other and each column is of unit length. This is the definition of orthogonal matrices. Okay, each column is of unit length. If this unit length is not satisfied, then you have to normalize it. Okay, you have to get the length 1, otherwise this will not work. In that case, then A inverse is equal to A transpose. This is always true. Okay. Now, what can we say about this P matrix? This is orthogonal matrix except for that scaling factor, right? We saw that these two columns are orthogonal to each other. So I'll say P inverse is equal to P transpose. Therefore, what happens? A is equal to PDP inverse. I can write this as, instead of P inverse, I can write this as PDP transpose. Is that okay? Hello? Is this fine?
Yes.
Is everybody getting
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let's see what to do. So what it says is, I can have this implies A inverse is equal to A transpose. This is very important because when I try to solve the system of equations, I want AX equal to B, but X is equal to A inverse B. To compute inverse, it will be a problem. Therefore, I can get A transpose B and then do it provided A is orthogonal. That is the understanding that we get. Is that okay? So now what we want is, if we are not able to get PDP inverse, now question is take A M cross N. The question is, can we have some U sigma V transpose instead of PDP transpose? I'll not say instead of, I'll say similar to PDP transpose of. Similar to A N cross N equal to PDP transpose. Okay, this is the question. The answer is an emphatic yes. It is possible to get something like this. Whatever be the matrix, you can get a form like this, and A M cross N is equal to U sigma V transpose is what we call a singular value decomposition. Is this okay? Where U is an M cross M matrix, sigma is an M cross N matrix, V is an N cross N matrix. Since I have used V transpose, and this is similar to PDP transpose, I would say V is an orthogonal matrix. Okay, and U is another orthogonal matrix. This is orthogonal matrix of dimension N. This is orthogonal matrix of dimension M. And sigma is basically M cross N matrix, which has this property. What is this? This is, say, M cross N. The structure of sigma is something like this. So it will have an R cross R. This is R and that is R. This is R cross R diagonal matrix. This is N minus R cross. What is this? What is the number of columns? Can you please tell me what is the number of columns and number of rows in this case? This matrix is, can you please fix the dimensions for me? This is M number of rows. This is N number of columns. So what is the dimension of this matrix, submatrix that we have? This submatrix is R cross N minus R. This submatrix is, what is this submatrix? Can somebody tell me? This submatrix ka dimension? This is something cross R, M minus R cross R, and this fellow is M minus R cross N minus R. Is this okay? This one. So basically, so basically I'm going to have a matrix which is of this form. Let me rewrite it again. These are all going to have values sigma 1, sigma 2, etc., sigma R. These are all zeros. This is 0. This is 0. This dimension is basically, this is R, we'll take. This is R. So this dimension is basically R cross N minus R. This dimension is basically M minus R cross R. This dimension is basically M minus R cross N minus R. So that many zeros we're going to have. Is this okay? Now, question is, what are these sigma 1, sigma 2? Suddenly you wrote something What are the sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma r? What do you think it can be? What do you think they can be? So these are what we call as
Diagonals.
singular values.
Yes.
But how do we get these singular values? Okay. Now let us see what we're going to do. Okay. I have A m cross n. Question. Can we get a square matrix from this somehow? Can we get a square matrix from this? But I must use this A matrix from A. Can we get a square matrix? Oh, we can of course get. How? That's interesting. What is A transpose A? A transpose is basically n cross m. A is m cross n. So what is the resultant matrix? A n cross n, right? I can also do A times A transpose. What is A times A transpose? This is A m cross n. A transpose is n cross m. So what is that I'm going to get? A m cross n. Is this right? Is this right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you a simple task. Let us take A to be this. 1, 1, 2, 1, 0, 2. Why 1, 0, 2? We'll make some other number. 4, 0, 5. Okay. Can you quickly find out what is A transpose A and tell me, and what is A transpose? Can some of you please do this and then tell me? Quickly. I just have a cup of water.
The first one is 2 by 2. The second one is
Just 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah, what is A transpose A?
It's a 2 by 2 matrix. So the second one is 3 by 3.
Oh, that's fantastic, but I want the numbers.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. Can you please tell me the numbers that go inside this? Entries of this matrix A transpose A and A transpose.
Sir, A transpose matrix. A transpose matrix, second one is 17, 1, 22.
Row wise or column wise?
Row wise, 17, 1,
Okay. Okay.
22. Yeah. Second row is 17, 1, 2.
Okay.
17, 1, 2. Third is 22, 2, 29.
229.
Yes, yes.
A transpose. I think there is a problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is everybody getting the same thing? It should have been 117, 2. Can you please check?
Sir, 9, 1, 22.
Which one? This one, right?
First row, yeah.
Okay, let's write that again.
9, 1, 22, 1, 1, 2.
9, 1, 22, 1, 1, 2.
1, 1, 1, 2, 22, 2, 29.
Yeah, this is correct. Remember, A transpose is a symmetric matrix. What about A transpose A?
6, 14, 14, 41.
Great. 6, 14, 14,
41.
41. Oh, this is also a symmetric matrix. Yeah. Now, the moment I get symmetric matrix, I have something interesting happening. What is that? Hello? What is the advantage of symmetric matrices? We just saw, no? Real symmetric matrix with distinct eigenvalues will have eigenvectors which are orthogonal to each other. Therefore, what I do is I can look at this. I can look at A transpose A. I call this matrix, let's say I call this as L. I can find some Lx is equal to lambda x. Can I find this out? Where x is the eigenvector and lambda is the eigenvalue corresponding to this matrix L. Can I do it? Is this? I can do that, right?
Yes. Yes, it's possible. Yes.
Exactly. So that is what we're going to do. So you find out the eigenvalues of A transpose A, and you find out the value of A transpose. Okay. Okay. If you have calculators or some online stuff right now, can you find out the eigenvalues of this matrix and tell me what is that? I'm really sorry to trouble you this much, because I really want to know. I want to show something interesting out there. Could you please find the eigenvalues of this and eigenvalues of this 3x3 matrix? Can someone solve and then get it? Some calculator or some online portal?
Sir,
Yeah.
A transpose, sir, first element is not 9, sir, it is 17 only, sir.
Oh, is it? Okay. Okay, I'll change this 17. Can you find the eigenvalues for these two?
17, 122, 17, 122. Just a minute, let me see. 1, 1, 2.
No, you don't solve this. You probably get the characteristic polynomial and feed that to some online equation solver and get it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You may get some nasty number, I guess.
Yeah, a bit very nasty, crazy.
Yeah, you'll just get some crazy number, because I randomly gave this matrix. You will definitely get some crazy numbers. One thing you can do.
I have 3 of them, 3 possible values.
Yeah,
One is 0.
definitely.
Lambda 1 is 0.
Okay.
And lambda 2 is a fraction, -7 multiplied by square root of 41 plus 47 divided by 2. Then the other one is just the minus sign is not there. It's a positive function.
Okay, fine. So this is basically -7. Yeah, -7 plus.
There is a -7 on the -7 square root of 41. Yeah,
Plus square root of.
No. There's the
Okay. Oh, it's up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
The root of 41 is multiplied by 7. So we
Okay.
have plus or minus 2 values of that eigenvector.
Yeah. So minus 47, 41 plus 47 by 2 plus 7 root 41 by plus 47 by 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you look at the eigenvalues of this, can you please look at the eigenvalues of this?
Eigenvalues of the first question. It is 14.
The eigenvalues of this would also be minus 7 root 41 plus 47 by 2 and minus plus 7 root 41 plus 47 by 2. This simply goes on to say that A transpose A and A transpose have the same eigenvalue except that this fellow has one extra 0.
Yeah.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
This is exactly where you're going to see the beauty of eigenvalues. You see, A transpose A and A transpose have the same eigenvalues, despite the fact that one is a 2 cross 2 matrix, the other one is a 3 cross 3 matrix.
Mm-hmm.
You seeing that? This was a 3 cross 3 and that was a 2 cross 2, but then these two values are the same. Why should it be so? Are you getting this? Now we will go back to this matrix and then we will see what is happening. What is the rank of this matrix? What do you think is the rank of this matrix?
2.
Rank of this matrix is 2. Brilliant. But what is the dimension of this matrix? This dimension is 3 cross 2, but the rank is 2. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Always remember, rank of A is equal to rank of A transpose A is equal to rank of A transpose. Everything will be the same. This rank is 2. 2 linearly independent columns, rank is 2. Here I have 3 columns, but one of them is dependent on the other, and therefore it would still be rank 2 matrix. This is also rank 2. Now I'm going to tell you something. What did we say? We said that I'm going to have this sigma matrix in between, which is of this form. You remember we told this? What did we say? We say this is R, this is R, this is R cross R, this is R cross n minus R, this is m minus R cross R, this is m minus R cross n minus R. You remember we made that? And we said all these fellows have 0. This has 0, this has 0, this has 0. You see, what is interesting is this R corresponds to rank of this A. Is rank A. And the elements that go here are basically the positive square roots. Singular values, I'll write positive square roots of eigenvalues of A transpose A are called as singular values. Is this clear? This is a definition. Okay. Now I have something interesting happening. What is this interesting thing that's happening? The moment I know the eigenvalues of this matrix, I can find the eigenvectors. Can I do that?
Yeah.
The moment I know the eigenvalues, I can find eigenvectors here.
Yes.
Can I do that? Yeah. Now, what you do is you put the eigenvectors of this matrix. Suppose you have A m cross n, m greater than n. Okay, rank n. We'll have all these conditions. A m cross n, m greater than n, rank n. Then the matrix is going to be a tall matrix, tall A, which is going to have m cross n, which is going to have m cross n, which is going to have n cross n. Now, is everybody getting, or you're finding it difficult to understand? Is it a bit too boring? Are you guys able to get the concept?
I think we are fine.
Is everybody fine? Okay. Let's go ahead. Now, you fill in all your singular values here. Sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma r. All these fellows 0. Now what you do? You corresponding to this 2 cross 2 matrix where you had A transpose A, put the eigenvectors here. Corresponding to A transpose whatever eigenvectors that you had, you put them here. But only thing that you need to do is you arrange these eigenvalues in such a way that sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2 is greater than sigma 3, etc. is greater than sigma. That means you're going to arrange the singular values in in descending order. Okay?
Yeah.
Is this clear? This is what your singular value decomposition is all about. Now, it also gives us another intuition. Let's look at what is the other intuition. For example, I have this. I have a vector x which is equal to 1, say 2, 3. I want to find out the length of this vector. How do I do this? How do I find the length of this? I say square root of 2 square plus 3 square, right? Is this right?
Mhm.
This is going to be 9 plus 4, 13, square root 13. But I can also find out this as square root of x transpose x. What is x transpose x? X transpose x is 2, 3 into 2, 3. So what do I get? I basically get 4 plus 9, 13, and I put a square root of this, right? X transpose x is basically this. Is this clear?
Yeah.
So what is x transpose x? X transpose x is basically length squared. Is this right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Is everybody getting this? I'm going to use the same stuff now. I'm going to use the same stuff, but it is a loosely talking way. It is not exactly, it may not be conceptually correct, but I'm going to give a very loose comparison between this to what we are going to do. I have A transpose A times X is equal to lambda X. Yeah. We just saw X transpose X is in a way is equivalent to length squared. Right? A transpose A, in some sense, can be called as, say, some B square. I don't even know. I would say it as A square, let's say. It may not be the same. Okay. Suppose if you have a real symmetric matrix, let's take this 2, 1, 1, 2. Can you find out A transpose A? Since it is symmetric, this is A transpose, this is A. This is the same as A square. Is this correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you see, I'm going to do the same business. A transpose AX is equal to lambda X. Therefore, what will be AX? AX is, can I put this as square root of lambda X? Can we do this? That's what we did, no? X transpose X is length square. Square root of X transpose X is length. Yeah. Is this correct?
Mhm. Mhm.
What is the square root of lambda? Square root of lambda basically here, single values. That's all.
It,
Okay. So what we're going to say is, we're going to make this strong statement for every A m cross n, we have singular value decomposition possible. See, I've not done the complete proof or understanding of this, but I've just given very conceptual, superfluous understanding of singular value decomposition, because that is enough. Once you get into start reading a textbook on singular value decomposition, you'll actually get the idea of what is happening over there. Okay, so for every A m cross n, we have singular value decomposition possible. It is also possible for m is equal to n, which means even for square matrices, I can have singular value decomposition. So what we are going to say is singular value decomposition, I'll write it as SVD, exists for all matrices. Whereas eigen decomposition does not exist. Right? The eigen decomposition does not exist. It's not even defined for rectangular matrix. Even for square matrix, there are certain matrices which do not have eigen decomposition. But even for such matrices, singular value decomposition will always exist. Is this clear? I will do this when I do PCA, where we look at the covariance matrix. I'll probably take a simple example and then we'll work that out. Okay. So we see that the singular value decomposition is something very natural to a matrix. Okay. So SVD is a very, very, very important mathematical concept as such. Okay, which exists for all kind of matrices. Is this okay? So I'll probably stop with this. If there are any questions, I'll take up those questions. We'll discuss this in detail when we do PCA. I'll try to give more insight on this and then do PCA. Okay. Any questions?
No, I have none on my side.
Okay.
Good.
Is there anyone who had questions? Who has some questions? I request all of you to please let me know if you understood or you felt it was too much heat and then, okay, it's difficult. See, at the end of it, you must not feel that, okay, I sat through 1.5 hours learning nothing. Right? You have invested your time, which means it's my duty to ensure that your time doesn't go wasted.
I think I'm good on my side. Just refreshing much.
Mm-hmm. Others? Manjunath sir, if there are no questions, shall we wind up?
Yes, sir. Not an issue.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I'll wind up and tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock, I'll be taking tomorrow. Or 10
Okay.
o'clock, 9:30.
Okay,
9:30,
sir.
right? I'll take the class. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Fine. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah.
So thank you, participants. We shall meet tomorrow at 9:30.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.